Hey, welcome to my channel. If you're a first-time viewer, what we do, we are planning on going boondocking all across the West Coast and boondocking in a cargo trailer converted to a camping trailer. So we're going to have videos on hiking trails that we do, boondocking, camping locations we find, attractions that are in the area. And most relevant to this video is converting a cargo trailer to a camping trailer. Now, we recently purchased a 7x14x7 cargo trailer. I'll put a card up in the corner so you can see if you're interested in seeing the actual cargo trailer that we're using. But we decided that we want to do mostly boondocking. But since I do the majority of my work online, I don't actually go to a job, but my job is wherever I am. We're going to need power. We want to be out there for weeks at a time. We don't want to do the campground hookup thing. So we decide we're going to put in enough solar to take care of our needs: cooking, charging computers, running heat, air conditioning. So I started looking at videos, as many of us do on, I call it YouTube University, on how to do solar for a cargo trailer. And there's lots of information, lots of very good information out there. But I then ran across the video that was somewhat different, where instead of telling you how to do solar, whoever did the video, and I wish I remembered their name so I could give them a shout out, was interviewing and giving a tour of a company up in Portland, Oregon. I keep forgetting the name. You'll have to excuse me a second. Light Harvester Solar. And I'll put the link to them down in the description below. But what they do, they seem to have found a nice niche market by selling solar equipment, but making it one-stop shopping, where you can buy a whole system from them. Everything down to the bolts, wires, electronics, everything at once. And I was very impressed with just the attitude of these people working at the company. It's, from what I could tell, they had all their offices in shipping containers, and they were running them purely on solar off-grid. The guys really seem to be into testing new equipment, trying to come up with the best equipment available for the dollar. Not the most high-end, but they weren't interested in selling cheap. They just wanted good equipment that they could sell and put it together as a package. And they were talking about how they're continually testing new equipment. And I spoke with my wife and I said, maybe, what do I know about putting in solar panel in a cargo trailer? Why not go to an expert? So I went online to the company, and they have a very nice setup online where they have a little questionnaire to fill out. What kind of power usage do you have? As far as there were all these check boxes of, you're going to use an induction burner, heater, air conditioner, cooking. There were all these things you could check, put in your contact number, and then they would get back to you with a quote for a complete system. I think it was less than 24 hours later, I had an email from them with the entire package. And just to jump ahead a little bit, I did go with them, and the video down in the corner is just showing the equipment showing up, how well it was packed, how it was delivered, and everything. So that's what the video is. So I was looking at the estimate, the proposal, and everything. and it was calling for 2 solar panels, each a little over, I think they're 305 watts apiece. 2 panels, 3 batteries. And I'm very risk adverse on this. I want to be out there and make sure I have power. So I want to be able to charge the batteries off the tow vehicle, a generator, shore power if we ever camping in an area where they have shore power, and the solar. And I was thinking, and I knew the size of the roof of the cargo trailer, and the estimate said about 2 panels. So I'm like, well, 3 panels would fit. So I wrote him back and I said, hey, double check with me. Here's the size of the roof. You know the size of the panels, will 3 fit? And I want a 4th battery because I just don't want to be out there running out of juice. I don't look forward to running a generator. So sent me back another estimate. And eventually, my wife and I talked it over. We kept on making adjustments. The first estimate didn't have the DC to DC charger on it, so we had to have that added to it. So they came up with a price. We decided to go for it. And what they sent was virtually everything I will need to hook up solar panel. So let me just take a break here and just show you everything that came in the package. Here's the most of the electronic components for the system that Light Harvest sent me. And before I forget it, I put the solar panels out into the cargo trailer, but we got 340 watt Q-cell, Q-peak duo monocrystalline split cell solar panels, 3 of them. So if my math is correct, that's 1,020 watts of solar power coming in. Then, before we get to the big ones, what's kind of nice are these distribution blocks. I know a lot of people use bus bars, but from what I understand, bus bars are somewhat limited on how many amps you can throw through them. These put wires in the bottom, front, top. I'm not quite sure of everything on these things, but then you use an Allen wrench on those 2 holes at the top to tighten everything down. And we got 3 of those. 2 go on the negative side, 1 goes on the positive. Nice thing about them, it dresses up the system a little better. And for these, you can run, let me check, 310 amps through one of these. So that's nice. And then we start off with the solar charger. Now, virtually all the electronics are Victron. And the nice thing about the Victron is they have an app for everything. So the solar charger, put the app on your phone to control everything. The inverter, the battery monitor, the DC to DC charger. And I think I forgot to mention, I'll put a picture of the solar panels up on the page. But as I said, they're out in the cargo trailer, not a lot of room in the house to put them. So there's the solar charger. And I'll put a list of all the components down in the description below. Moving on. 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter charger. I want to be able to charge the batteries with a generator or with shore power. We have a 30 amp plug that came with the system to install on the exterior. So for some reason we have a week of rain, I can still charge the batteries off of a generator or which be able to run off of propane. Or if we happen to be, I think we'll rarely be in campgrounds. But if we do have shore power, we'll be able to use that. Next thing is the battery monitor. That this is a standard battery monitor with a dongle or whatever. So I can use my phone using Bluetooth to control that. Then we have, now this might be overkill. Whoa, sorry about that. It's a DC to DC charger. Now I know I could have just run a wire from my tow car, no, it's going to be a truck, battery to the system and just charged it that way. But this is just me being risk adverse. It's an isolated DC to DC charger, so that's just going to give me another option when it comes to charging the batteries if we don't have sun. Then the lithium batteries, and we got 4 of these. Each one's 105 amp hours, so that's 420 amp hours altogether. So that should be able to run my mini split system, induction burner, microwave, toaster oven. Most of the lights will be on DC, but outlets to charge phones and everything. So 4 of those batteries. So that's pretty much the major electronics that are involved. It also came with this smart dongle that goes with the inverter charger, I think, so I can use Bluetooth. Yeah, I haven't really looked into all these things, how they work and everything, but that's where I think it goes. Now, with the shipping, just the good and the bad. You can see the only damage we had is back in this corner. Now, I did open up the box. The charger is packed in styrofoam, so the box got torn up, but the component itself is perfectly fine. So they did a really nice job, and everything came in one large box with the exception of the batteries. Batteries came in 2 boxes, 2 batteries per box. And the DC to DC charger came separately. And I'll explain that why a little later. Also in the package was all the wiring. And the most important thing, the wiring diagram. And they do a really nice job. Tells you what size cables to use for every connection, what goes to what. So it should be, once I start installing this, should be really easy to follow this. And then they sent all the cables that I need. Just if anybody from the company watches this, I would recommend put a little tag on the cables so I know what they are. Some of them have the writing on the side, but some don't. So we have all the cables. Now, they probably gave me more length than I need, and I'm paying per foot. Doesn't bother me, simply because I'd rather have too much than too little, and then have to try to run out to Ace and get more or source more from somewhere. They send the little sleeves that go around where you connect things, the shrink wrap ones in both red and black for all the cables. This is the plug for the shore power. And the company goes over the top. For example, a lot of people just wire the batteries to each other, but on the wiring diagram, each battery gets wired separately and goes to one of those distribution boxes, and each battery has a fuse. The argument being, if you run them together, they may not charge equally. But if you run a wire separately to each one through the distribution box, you have a better chance of the batteries charging evenly. That's the cable for the solar, and they gave me plenty of length on that. So, here we have some circuit breakers. I'm not sure exactly where they're going. It's all in the wiring diagram. We have fuse holders, 2 different size. They send a bag of fuses with it, so I don't have to source them. And I guess the last thing, oh, they're going to be stuck on here. But you can see they're the crimpers to connect the wires to the batteries and things like that. Now I have a hydraulic crimper to do that, but they send all those. So I've gone over this numerous times. It seems like and looking at the wiring diagram, I haven't double checked each and every cable and everything, but these people seem to be pretty efficient at getting the right stuff that you need. So that's the components. And as I said, let me just show this again. I'm trying to grab things and hold the camera at the same time. This is the wiring diagram. And they even go through and laminate it. So, when you're out working on it, it's going to get messed up. You're going to fold it. It's going to rip. But no, they took the extra few minutes to laminate the wiring diagram, so you have it the whole time. And so I don't forget to mention it later. I did have to get a couple different shipments because down there I have a AC/DC distribution box, which I did not get with the solar. That was actually a present from my wife this past Christmas. It was on my Amazon wish list. So what happens is that the company, you have to double check your order really well, because I was looking at the wiring diagram and I didn't see anything to take DC to the distribution, the AC/DC distribution panel. So I sent the guy an email, the guy that runs the place, and he says, if we don't sell the component, we don't include that. But he was really cool about it. 2-3 days later, he had shipped me, and that's all what this is separately, just to run the DC from the one of those distribution boxes up to the AC/DC distribution box. So, got it shipped, showed up. I was very happy with the way it was packed, pulled apart everything, and I started thinking about some things. So there are some things that I added to what they shipped. I'm sure if I had said something to them, they would have included them. But the more I got, and they sent a very nice wiring diagram that shows you exactly how to hook everything up. But the more I looked at that wiring diagram, I said, how am I going to work on this system? As in, once I have those batteries hooked up and I want to work in the distribution box, how am I going to turn off the juice? How am I going to, I had the wires coming in from the solar. I need to hook them up to the batteries. But there's juice now because those solar panels are sitting out in the sun. So I just went online, picked up solar on and off switch. So if I need to do any maintenance in the future, I can make sure there's no juice going to the, that I'm going to be messing with after this box. And I picked up a couple of these battery shutoffs because I wanted a way to shut off the AC and the DC going to the distribution box. I just feel more comfortable running lines knowing there's actually no juice. Yes, I could shut off the inverter. There were things around it, but ways around it, but I was having trouble coming up with some way to shut the DC power off. And I have a joint distribution box that has both AC and DC in it. So I did pick those up. Just shows you how forgetful I am. What's my review on Light Harvester Solar? Very, very happy. The pros are, when the shipment first got here, and it took about 3 weeks from the time I ordered, wired the money. It's about 3 weeks till a truck showed up at my house with the parts. And I was starting to lay the stuff out on the counter, and there's like, where's the inverter? This is a $1,200 inverter. And there were 2 or 3 other things that were missing from the shipment, and I'm going crazy. And I call them up and I say, hey, I spent $1,200 on an inverter. There is no inverter here. And the nice young lady at the company explained how things were back ordered, and it should have been on my packing order. What they didn't tell me was the packing order and the wiring diagram were taped to the back of one of the solar panels. But I started getting very paranoid what else was missing. Well, one of the managers of the company stayed late that night and double checked my order to make sure I had everything. And we were exchanging emails back and forth on a daily basis. And I was getting emails from him 6, 7 o'clock at night. So after business hours, customer service seems excellent. And I'm really, I had no problems along those lines. There were some slight communication problems as far as where is this packing case, packing slip. They had forgotten to add the DC to DC charger to the bill, so I had to send some more money for that. So there was some miscommunication on the order, but they're a new company, and I can always deal with when a company makes mistakes if they take care of it right away. And they were 100% on top of taking care of it right away. Cons, I don't really have any. So far, it's not hooked up. I haven't been running it yet. And I'm sure the big question from many of you is, well, what was the damage on this? $8,685.31. So just about $8,700 for the complete system. Now that did not include the distribution box. I had bought that previously. Well, it's actually gifted to me at Christmas. So it didn't include that, but it is everything else with the exception of a positive wire going from the DC to DC to the tow vehicle to charge the batteries from the tow vehicle. How were the prices? Well, before I placed an order, okay, I knew it was getting this inverter. I knew it was getting this charge controller. So I went to Amazon. The prices were just comparable to anything I could get at Amazon. The only thing I thought was slightly overpriced were the solar panels, but not to that much of a degree. But to me, I wasn't just buying equipment. I also purchased that wiring diagram. And the guys that are working there have assured me that when I'm putting this together, if I have any problems, call them. Don't email them, call them. They will talk me through step by step by step. So $8,700 may seem expensive, but 3 solar panels, 4 batteries, inverter, 4, 5, 6. You're now over $6,000 cost on that. And then there's all the other electronic, all the wiring, everything you need for the wiring. I'm also getting their skills and expertise, which if I just bought the things myself off of Amazon, I'd have to be going to YouTube, checking to see it. I wouldn't be totally sure if I was using the right wires. So I am in that $8,700 is also their years of experience, their years of testing this equipment, their years of shipping, their knowledge. So I'm getting all of that, and they seem to be making most of their profit on the markup on the equipment that they're buying wholesale and selling to me retail. So I think I'm getting a heck of a bargain from these guys. So that's the story of acquiring the equipment for the solar. I'm planning on doing 3 more videos at least about the solar. About a month from now, I hope to have everything hooked up and ready to run. So I want to do a video showing how I set it up, how I wired everything. Then after we take it out the first time, I want to do another video about, okay, I had the mini split running, the induction cooker running, my computer's plugged in charging. I just want to see how much I can draw in power based upon 1,000 watts of solar, 405, I believe they're 105 amp lithium batteries. Just what did I get too much solar, too little solar? So I'll do a video once we're out there using the stuff. And then a year down the road, maybe, how did it hold up? Is it still everything I'd hoped it would be? So if you're interested in seeing those videos, or our hiking videos, or our attraction, or our boondocking location videos, press the subscribe button, bell notification, you know what to do. And wish me luck in getting this together. Have a good one now.